Delicious yet deadly. I ate around 25% of the bag, and about 2 hours later, I sharted my pants while helping my mother move chairs from her classroom, thus having to run home and change. They are delicious but deadly. So that's what it is. It's just like a bunch of those.
Yeah.
And so to your point, the thing is, because I had read so many of them and I just couldn't stop reading them because they had a bunch, I was both hysterically laughing and also I avoid these sugar-free gummy bears anytime I go to the grocery store. I'm like, nope, if you want candy, get you a chocolate, get you something like that. Don't test your luck, Vivian.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, hey Vivian, it's Chelsea, and we're here again at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business, not S.O.B as in S.O.B. Today...
Yeah, not the other S.O.B.
Yeah. Today, we are talking about reviews and why they are important. I'm starting off because I just want to say one of my favorite podcasts is Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet. It's a sibling duo, so you know I already love it because I can relate. But it's a sibling duo that all they do is read to each other ridiculous reviews. I mean, ridiculous. It is hilarious. It is iconic. It is the vibe.
Yeah, it definitely, the first time I heard it, because we were in the car listening to it together, I was like, huh, what is this? Like, it took me a while to kind of get it. But once I listened to 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, okay. And they have a big follower base.
They
like,
do.
it's a well listened to podcast. And so essentially, the reason they called it that was there was one time a review on what?
It was a review of a beach. Yes. A review of a beach.
And literally somebody typed.
Someone said that the beach was too sandy and the water was too wet.
I mean, and so to your point, the reason we're talking about reviews today in regards to small businesses, a review can make or break your business or a sale. Okay, so maybe not your business. Okay, I'm not going to be doom and gloom. Like, hopefully, I mean, you can get bad reviews, and that's not good. But you can pull out of that if that's the case right now. The thing is, it can absolutely though deter a sale from occurring if someone sees a bad review that there is no response to. And interestingly enough, Chelsea, you and I so we were booking an Airbnb recently, and you and I had this very long discussion about the reviews, right?
Yes.
Because we know that there are things that we're not going to bend on. So like cleanliness is one of them. Like whatever Airbnb we book, the reviews have to state something about it being clean, right?
Yes.
And that it was over the top clean. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
so that's where, it's affecting somebody booking your place. If you get negative reviews, and the positive ones obviously are helping your business. So.
Yes, absolutely. I think sometimes small business owners can say, well, I don't think it's fair that people are judging my business so much by the reviews. Take a second and think about you yourself personally. Like if you're on Amazon and you're picking between 2 products, even if one of them has a 5-star rating and the other one has like 4.5, but the 4.5 is an average of like 1,000 reviews and the 5 is out of like 50, you're going to go with the 4.5. So taking into perspective, you have to think about it from your customer, your consumer standpoint. Would you personally feel comfortable purchasing something from somewhere with your level of reviews? Something to think about.
Yeah, it's definitely, it could feel like rolling the dice. Like you said, the more reviews you have on there, there's this thing in marketing called social proof. And what it is as a customer or as a potential customer, you often look around to see the social proof. Show me it works. Okay. Yeah. Show me that this product is good. So that way I'm not having to basically roll the dice to figure out, I could potentially be getting a dud or get a product that I don't like. Or, if you're getting a new curling iron and it burns your hair. I mean, these are all things that you don't want happening to you. So it does provide reviews, equates to social proof. And the more social proof you have on there, the better. The other thing is, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. So what you're going to hear in this podcast, the way we're going to structure it is, first, we're going to be talking about why the reviews are important, right? How it can affect your business. And then the second portion, we'll actually start talking about how to go about asking for those reviews. Yes. So giving you just some very pragmatic things that you can be doing to ask for them, because the last thing we want to do is tell y'all to do something and then you're like, I don't know how to do that. Like, how do I come up with an idea to do that? So we'll give you some ideas for that.
We will. So another thing, reviews is great for increasing your credibility and creating a positive impression. So just like we just talked about, the more reviews, the more credible you seem. Creating an impression, if someone has never used your site before or has never purchased anything from you before, seeing reviews is going to help them understand your brand better, and it's going to make them feel more comfortable with you as a brand.
Yeah, and it does, I think, also for the credibility factor. So there's this thing on Amazon, and everybody has seen it, I'm sure, where when you start to read some of these reviews, you can tell that they were given a free product, right? And they were incentivized to leave a good review. And so that's why I often look for the reviews that feel very authentic to me. Authentic in the sense that it's someone who didn't receive a free product and who was not incentivized to leave a good review, but instead was someone who was telling me about their personal experience with it, and they had taken the time to do that.
This is a great example of why people display reviews on their website. It's to build credibility. If you're scrolling through a website and you're looking at products, but you don't see anything else except for just the product, it can sometimes feel kind of like fake. I don't know if I'm the only one, but like if you're scrolling through a website and you don't see any reviews on the products, it kind of feels like, oh, this is like a scam website.
I see this a lot too in the space where, like, if you're looking for a consultant or a coach, right? So a professional coach of any kind, having reviews on there helps with that in particular, because like you're saying, otherwise you're like, is this person any good? Or they just gonna take my money? Like, I don't really know if they're legit or if they just created this website yesterday. Exactly. Or if people have actually, if they're experienced and people have been using them, and therefore that's why they include reviews of their capabilities within their website. So it doesn't just go for products, but it goes for people. If you're a professional that's out there trying to be a consultant, a business coach, if you're doing website designs, whatever it is, reviews help 100%.
Yes, that's a great example. It's not just for products, but also for services.
Another reason that reviews can be very integral to your business is because they can provide you valuable feedback. And that's the one thing where I think a lot of times, because we want those all to be 5-star reviews, we're not catching the opportunity in being able to really improve our business or our product and service.
Yes, absolutely. Getting a bad review can sometimes show you where the bottlenecks in your business are. So bottlenecks are going to be those areas where there's a hiccup, right? Where something's going wrong and there's a disconnect. So bad reviews can sometimes show you, hey, this is where the disconnect is. This is something that we're going to have to change, something that we have to work on.
And sometimes it doesn't even, so to your point, it doesn't even have anything to do really with the product or the service. Yeah. Sometimes it can be something as simple as shipping and what occurs and the way that feedback comes about. So let's say you get a review that gave you 4 out of 5 stars and it says, I would have given you 5 stars except for the fact that it took me, 3 weeks to receive this product. Right. And maybe it has something to do with the vendor that you're using to ship your stuff, your product. Then that gives you the information you need. If you start to see these consistently come up, it could be a one-off, or if you consistently see you're collecting reviews and you're seeing that this is something that's continuing to occur, well, then that means as a business owner, you want to go find a different vendor or have a very stern talk with that vendor about the way that they're, providing their service to you. So sometimes it's a bigger picture thing that you can do where sometimes it's not just about your service or your product, but it's bigger than that.
Absolutely. Negative reviews don't have to be the end of the world, and they're not the end of the world. And unfortunately, once you start asking for reviews, you're going to get them. Negative reviews aren't the end of the world. People are going to complain, but again, you can use it, find those areas where you're lacking, and you can try to rectify the situation. You should always respond to a negative review, trying to rectify the situation. And pro tip, if you reach out to them, you and the customer, you and the consumer work out the problem. Maybe it was a small misunderstanding. They're happy now, they're good. You can ask them to change their review. But do not do this if they're still upset. only ask if you know that you've fixed the problem.
Sir, it wasn't my fault. Please take down that review. You're absolutely correct. There has actually been a study that shows that so a negative review can obviously negatively impact your business. However, they say that if you do respond, and there's this thing that happens when people perceive you trying to fix something where it gives you even more of they're like, oh, they're going out of their way to be sure that they're listening to the customer and they're trying to resolve a matter. And so if there is a resolution, that really does help with potential customers because they're thinking, oh, I know that if I have something that comes up, that isn't typical, they'll fix it, they'll make it right. So it almost looks better on you because you did take a negative situation and you turned it into a positive, or you did right by the customer. Now,
absolutely.
The one thing I will say for negative reviews is if you guys have not gone onto Amazon and looked at the reviews for sugar-free gummy bears, please do me the favor of doing this because it has quite literally scared me shitless to ever trying sugar-free gummy bears. I will stick with the sugar-ridden ones just fine because some of the commentary on there, it's comical. It is so comical. And I haven't, maybe at some point I'll go back in and actually research to see how Haribo is, I don't know, fixing this or doing it because now
is it even a Haribo branded thing? Is it Haribo? I thought it was a different brand.
The gummy bears?
The sugar-free gummy bears?
No, it definitely is Haribo.
Is it? Oh, wow.
So I just want to tell you, though, let me read one of them.
Oh my gosh, yes,
just
please.
Because it... All right, so I'm convinced that they did something to take some of these off, or I don't know what, okay? But I did find one. It didn't have as many reviews as the other ones because they had a lot of bad reviews. And so basically what it was just saying is because of whatever they use in order to make it sugar-free, it upset a lot of people's tummies. And so it was just like these funny reviews about it was a bad day for them when they decided to eat a whole bag of sugar-free gummy bears. And so Like, for example, this one says, it's from 2014, delicious yet deadly. I ate around 25% of the bag, and about 2 hours later, I sharted in my pants while helping my mother move chairs from her classroom, thus having to run home and change. They are delicious but deadly. So that's what it is. It's just like a bunch of those.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, the thing is, because I had read so many of them and I just couldn't stop reading them because they had a bunch, I was both hysterically laughing and also I avoid these sugar-free gummy bears anytime I go to the grocery store. I'm like, nope, if you want candy, get you a chocolate, get you something like that. Don't test your luck, Vivian.
Oh, God.
Do you love making crafts and working on your small business but struggle to get them in front of customers?
Do craft fairs, events, or pop-ups leave you feeling overwhelmed or frustrated?
Introducing Rock Your Fair, the course designed to help you succeed in the world of craft fairs, pop-ups, and events, created by 2 marketing professionals with over 15 years of experience. Rock Your Fair is perfect for anyone who's new to the game or just wants to step up their game.
Our step-by-step approach will guide you through everything you need to know, from choosing the right events, to setting up your booth, to marketing your products effectively.
And you know what? You'll also get access to us for personalized coaching and feedback so you can put your best foot forward.
Do not let craft fairs, pop-ups, and events hold you back. Sign up for Rock Your Fair today and start rocking your way to success.
For a limited time, get access to our free mini course. Simply head over to our website at www.theseasonmarketer.com and click on workshops.
Okay, so we just spent all this time explaining to you why reviews are important before you come for us and say, okay, but how am I supposed to do that? Here's how you ask for reviews. Okay, let's come up with some easy ways to do it. I know I've told this story before, but it's one of my favorite ways to ask for reviews. It's so easy. Create a QR code on Canva. Code on Canva, put it on a poster, slap it on the wall. Bray has one in all of the rooms in her salon. So when you're in with your skin specialist getting waxed, there's one in there. And then there's one when you come outside in the lobby. And a great tip for this is when you create the QR code, set up the link so that it opens directly to the dialog box on Google.
Yeah, that's a big thing that I think a lot of people don't think about, simply because you're like, oh, I'll just link it to my Google business profile, which does work. The only thing is, just know that when you do that, you're requiring them to take one additional step, which is to actually hit the reviews and then add a review. So what Chelsea is saying is circumvent that. And instead, you can actually pull the link, and it's a very specific link that Google will provide you with right there, that you copy and paste. And it basically means that when I go to scan that QR code, what's going to pop up is the actual box where I start typing immediately.
Let's remember, Gen Z, people like Chelsea, we're lazy. I'm not going to do this extra step. You have to open up to the dialog box, or I'm not leaving a review.
Yeah, very good pro tip right there. Another thing, once you have a QR code made, you can utilize it on several different things. So for example, if you don't want to do posters in your storefront or your room, you can definitely put it on business cards. You could drop those business cards into bags as people are purchasing your product. You can also do something where if you're a restaurant, you can create table tents to put on the tabletops that have that QR code on there. So there are many different ways that you can include that QR code. So that's a very good popular one.
Yes, absolutely. And a real simple one that you should already be doing while you're checking out, make sure that you mention it.
Yes, and also restaurants, you can actually modify your receipts to include some verbiage at the bottom of it if you want to say like, hey, leave us a review. Another way to go about that is, let's say that you have staff members that are working for you and they're providing some type of service, you can always train your staff to include that in their verbiage. So as Chelsea was saying, if you have some type of spa, whoever the masseuse is at the end of it or whatever, once they're wrapping up with, the customer can say something, like, hey, I really enjoyed having you today as a customer. If you loved, the massage that I gave you, please feel free to, go on there and leave me a Google review. My name is so-and-so or whatnot. So I think that helps a lot. I've had people ask me for reviews on a lot of different stuff, waitresses.
Yeah, what I was going to say is a lot of restaurants that I know of will actually do contests with the waiters and waitresses, which whoever gets the most mentions in reviews, like whoever gets mentioned the most in their reviews will get a reward. So that's a good way to incentivize your staff.
It's the incentive that definitely does it. Yeah. It's like a little internal contest for people, which is great.
I want to say, remember, there are certain things that you can't do on Google when it comes to reviews. Just be careful.
Don't be paying people.
Yeah, don't pay people. Don't ask your staff to leave reviews as if they were customers. That can get you in a lot of trouble.
Deceptive.
Yes. Don't do things that are deceptive, okay?
Let's be an upright citizen, please. Yes, okay. Let's not be doing shady shit. How about that?
Google will come down on you and they will delete all of your reviews. And now you got to start from scratch.
Yeah. That's definitely not this position you want to be in, where Google's saying, hey, we're going to wipe clean all your reviews because we can't tell which ones are actually legit and which ones are not. Another option would be if you send follow-up communication. So let's say that you are getting people onto an email list when they're making a purchase from you. You can include an email, right? So automate it. Utilize the tools that you have to automate this to where it says like, hey, thank you so much for your recent purchase. Would you mind rating X, Y, and Z product? Or would you mind leaving us a review and telling us how we did? And so that's just another step that you can take where you want it to be as hands-off as possible and try to automate it as much as you can. But sending that email will probably garner you a couple more reviews.
Absolutely.
And there's also texting now. You can do the same thing for texting.
Yes. Great ideas. Another great way to ask for reviews in product packaging, you can create a sticker and add it onto your product, or you could actually have it embedded into your product packaging. Both great ideas. I would keep the verbiage a little shorter if you're putting it on your product packaging, but if you're creating like a sticker that you're adding on, I would go ahead, maybe just like a QR code, make it easy.
And finally, the other thing I've seen people do, and this is a little more intrusive, but it can help. If you are at the checkout for something, people sometimes have tablets that they'll use to swipe a card. You hear my chicken? To swipe a card and to fill stuff out. They actually can program those to prompt for a review to show up, right? So sometimes they'll do that with a short questionnaire, and sometimes they'll actually prompt you at the end to say, would you like to leave us a review? Oh my gosh, my chicken's just got something to say today. Then, they'll be able to do that right there on the screen while they're still captive. So sometimes cafes will do this, and then other times... So sometimes cafes will do this once you kind of sign off on your purchase, and then it'll say like, would you like to leave us a review? And you could do that there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I love your chickens.
Yeah, they're a pain in the butt, especially when they're hanging out right outside my window, but whatever.
They want to leave you a review.
I mean, you hear him?
Yeah.
He's like, let me tell you, he's telling me about something. But I think so Chelsea, I think we've covered all of the options for being able to leave reviews.
Yeah, I think one point I want to make before we end this episode is don't stress yourself out. Building up reviews is going to take time. People don't like to be inconvenienced or asked to do things very often. Trust me, I hate doing things. I don't want to do it. But you have to keep making sure that you're asking for reviews and just keep doing it. And you'll slowly build up a plethora of good reviews. I know it.
Yeah. And most importantly, think of it as any other marketing initiative. You have to be consistent with it. So consistency over time will garner you, feedback. But that's the thing is you have to take it seriously and not just do it when you remember to do it, which is why we do recommend if you can find a way to streamline this and to make it a part of your process where it's hands off and you don't have to be asking people for it, but it's something that's automated, that would be ideal. All right, y'all. So I think that wraps up our episode today. We want to thank all of you for listening, and a friendly reminder that if you haven't already followed us on YouTube under S.O.B Marketing Podcast, please do so. Also, don't forget that we have another YouTube channel with over 200 marketing videos, which are available for you to watch today, and that's under The Seasoned Marketer. And then we also have a website at, of course, www.theseasonedmarketer.com, where we have freebies and also access to our free training program there. So go check that out. But Chelsea, I think that's it.
I think that's it. Just go out there, ask for reviews in the nicest way possible, and be the best SOB you can be.